Yo, 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 what's up, YouTube? I'm back with another video again. Named Jonathan Hernandez, or you call me the Nerdy Red Hipster, or J Ranger the Collector. This time, I'm going to be talking about, and I did mention this yesterday, I already mentioned about the Above the Rim soundtrack. I know I didn't want to really spoil it very much, but I've only talked about the soundtrack, but I wanted to talk about the movie. Today's the day that it was released, 29 years ago. Here it is, Above the Rim. Told y'all I was going to show the DVD, and I got this one at FYE a long time ago. My mom actually got me this movie. Thank you, Mama. I miss you every day. And this was definitely a great movie with Tupac in it. Love this film. It's one of my favorite basketball films, too. Since, I've always been a big basketball person. I mean, I like all the basketball movies. I like, He Got Game with Denzel, and including White Man Can't Jump with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, and Blue Chits with Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte. I mean, I just like movies with basketball in general. That includes Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson. But this is my top favorite basketball movie ever. Because, Tupac. Always been the favorite rap artist. And you got Marlon Wayans, Leon Robinson, and Duane Martin. And you got Tonya Pinkins. This is definitely a great movie. You also got Bernie Mac in it, too. Bernie Mac plays as the homeless guy in the movie. And Tupac plays as the bad guy in the film, as Birdie. And on Kyle Watson, who is played by Duane Martin, who's the one that's playing basketball for the team in his high school. And he also what do you call it? So he has to really work hard to play in basketball in order to go to Georgetown because he wants to play for the Hoyas. But his mind's if you watch the movie, he talks to Tupac, and he goes to his club in the beginning of the film. And Tupac wants him to join with him instead of joining his coach. So he decided he'll join with them, but then towards at the end of the film, he gets to know who Tupac really is in the film, how much of a villain he is in the movie. And also to let you know, Leon Robinson's character, Tommy Shepard, he's Tupac's older brother in the movie. He didn't really trust him either because he knows that Tupac plays as the villain. But I mean, Tupac did try to show remorse, but he played more of the villainish. That's why he didn't talk to his brother, and his brother didn't talk to him. And going towards the end, Marlon Wayans gets punked. He gets punked by Tupac because he wanted to play on the same team with Kyle Lee Watson, the character, by Duane Martin. That's why Duane Martin decided not to join with Tupac's character of his basketball team called the Birdmen at the basketball shootout, the competition. And he gave him all the stuff, all the money, shoes, everything, uniform, because he didn't want to join after seeing his friend getting punked and all that. But I mean, I still like Tupac. He still pulled it off as a character in the movie. He still pulled it off as a villain. But I mean, I know in reality, I know it looks crazy for someone to punk you, and then your friend sees it and he's like, oh wow, that's so effed up and all. And he's telling him, yeah, Birdie had no right to diss you, if y'all hear that part. And you hear the part where Tupac says, oh Shep, at the cemetery, telling, Tommy, the character by Leon. And he tells him, I'm the man, I'm the one. Get the F out of Dodge, get the hell out of Dodge and raise the F up. That's what he tells him, because it's a new day. And he also killed Bernie Mac too. He killed his character, Flip. He's like, recognize, motherfucker. And he just shanked him. Tupac just literally brutally killed him. Tupac was a real brutal character in this movie. He really was. And then Marlon Wayans ended up getting retaliated at the end. He ended up pulling the gun on him, and he shot Tupac's character. And the whole club just freaked out when they saw Marlon Wayans pulled out that pistol on him. I mean, it was still a great movie. I enjoyed the film. I mean, I'm still gonna favor it because it's basketball and especially Tupac being in it. And what do you call it? Duane Martin's character, he made it to the Georgetown. He got the letter. Actually, he got the letter from his coach at the basketball shootout. He was like so happy. He hugged his coach. It's a great movie. And I'm glad he stood on track. He didn't get into the trouble because in reality you don't really need the trouble. Just follow what your coach tells you. He's trying to help you and all that. But yeah, this is definitely a great movie. If y'all are Tupac fans or even a basketball fan, just definitely watch this movie. It's a great Tupac Above the Rim film. I love Above the Rim. Here's the back of it. Here's that. What I also like about the beginning part too, when Tupac showed up in the gym, seeing the basketball game, that's the part where he was just being gangster, holding that cigar. And then when he saw Leon, his character Tommy Shepard, playing on the basketball court, he it's so crazy. I never expect Tupac to do this. When I watched that film, Tupac did the he pulled the razor out of his mouth right where his teeth is at. I was like, wow, that's some intense excuse me, shit. But yeah, Tupac really pulled it off as a villain in that movie, just like he did in Juice. So that's why Above the Rim is always going to be a classic. Always has been and always will be, just forever. It's a great basketball movie. That's what makes me want to play basketball, like hardcore basketball. Like, play the game. That's why I watch Above the Rim. And also, Tupac did get interviewed about Above the Rim, too. He wanted to play more like the bad guy, like, for a reason, Not just because, oh yeah, I just want to play it just because. He did it for the reason. Like, he always has those phases in it. And he would say about basketball really not being his thing to play. Because, Tupac's more of an actor. He's more of the rap artist and actor. He really didn't really play basketball. He did mention that in an interview. And, also about Kyle Watson, too, his character. He kind of had like a jealousy kind of dislike towards the security guard, Tommy Shepard, Leon's character, because of him dating his mom, and he didn't want him to be around his mom and all that. Like, he had like no trust in him at the beginning. But then at the end, he started to trust him. And they played basketball in a one-on-one game, like going towards the end of the movie. And that's the part where he tried to find Flip, but then that's when Leon told him that Flip is gone. He's dead because he got killed by Tupac's character, Birdie. And then also after the basketball game and the shootout, the competition, after him and actually Kyle Watson and his team won, Tupac was like so mad. And then his character, that Multa, that Wood Harris guy, he's been in a lot of movies too. He pulls out the gun and he ends up shooting, Leon's character. It was a really tense scene and everybody just freaked out. And that's when that Pour Out a Little Liquor came on, and that's where Marlon Wayans came in and shot Tupac's character. And Marlon Wayans had like that really like laugh out loud, like laugh my ass off, like he finally got his revenge, it was a wild, tense movie. But I know in reality him and Tupac were good friends. They were good friends in real life. And I could imagine if Tupac was still here, I could imagine seeing him more in movies, with Marlon Wayans and all the rest of the cast. Like, more different people. I could imagine him and Wesley Snipes in a movie. Same with James Belushi. I could imagine if they did another movie. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. I could imagine Tupac, being in a movie with them. And I could imagine, him and Chris Tucker, too, and Jackie Chan. That would be such a great collab. Shoot, I can imagine being on the George Lopez show. Could imagine Tupac being on the George Lopez show. George Lopez will for sure welcome that guest in the house. But yes, Above the Rim, it will always be a classic movie. If you see this movie, if you bump into it at the yard sale or even at the book-off store where they sell like a bunch of random DVDs, CDs, vinyl, all that stuff, books. If you bump into this movie, y'all, get this film. You won't regret it. It's a really great basketball film. If you love basketball, you got to get this movie. And I also like Marlon Wayans and Duane Martin's character when they played on the blacktop on the basketball court. He's like, get off of me! Ah! He does all that. And that's when that flip, Bernie Mac, shows up. It's a great movie. And then he talks about bunks. It's like an old saying that our grandfathers would play back in the old days. And that's when, Duane's character, Kyle, tackles him, and that's when that Leon pulled him off. And he wanted to fight him at first, but then he's just like back down, like, okay, like, I don't want to mess with this guy. But this is a great movie. Absolutely watch it, folks. If you're a basketball fan or a Tupac fan, definitely watch this movie. You won't regret it. And it's 29 years old, and it's still the classic. And I'm still watching this movie. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe. Tell me what your favorite part of the movie is in Above the Rim. And I'll definitely respond to all of y'all's comments. And y'all stay blessed and safe. Take care. Peace.